start spreading the news. Today I'm going to prepare my New York City-style recipes recreated with a jazzy-licious twist. I'll share my vegan take on a popular hoagie sandwich, a favorite deli salad, and a Manhattan-inspired cheesecake. And then we'll visit New York's famous jazz club, Birdland. And I'll chat with America's romantic piano sensation, Jim Brickman, as he prepares for a concert. So please join me as we take a bite of the Big Apple, New York, New York.
Jazzy, you're gonna be healthy with the Jazzy vegetarian. Jazzy, so snazzy. We're gonna cook something healthy and light. Jazzy, so snazzy.
So join me in the kitchen right now.
We're gonna cook something healthy and light. That's right.
Today I'm going to cook up a New York City-inspired meal featuring savory peppers and vegan sausage, nestled in a sub-style sandwich and served up with a deli-style macaroni salad on the side. And for dessert, one of my favorite sweet treats, my luscious New York-style blueberry vegan cheesecake. It tastes super rich and creamy. So stay with me. We're going to get cooking in a New York minute. You think about Manhattan, you think about cheesecake. And just about everywhere you go in the Big Apple, you're going to see New York-style cheesecake. Legend has it that in 1929, Arnold Rubin, who was owner of the Turf restaurant at 49th and Broadway, claimed that he and his family developed the first cheesecake made with cream cheese. Before that, bakers had been using only cottage cheese for cheesecake. But of course, today, we're not going to use cottage cheese. We're definitely not going to use cream cheese. We're going to use a vegan substitute, which is my old standby, tofu. But before we make our filling, we need to make our crust. So we're starting off with vegan cookies. And I just wanted to show you a couple of different vegan cookies that I found. This is a plain ginger snap. And I found these, a little gingerbread men. You can use a vanilla cookie wafer for this. You can even use a graham cracker. Anything you find that's vegan. I think I'm going to use these little gingerbread men today. I'm going to put them into the blender. Just gonna eyeball it. We wanna come out with 3/4 of a cup of cookie crumbs. There we go. That's what we're looking for, some nice fine cookie crumbs. Measure them out. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're just making a basic cookie crumb crust with this. Pat it down a little bit. And I'm using a non-dairy margarine. I'm using 2 tablespoons of a non-dairy margarine. Combine it together. But depending on the type of cookies that you're using, you may want a little more or a little less of your vegan margarine. So let's kind of work it together and see what happens here. I'm gonna add a little bit more of that vegan margarine. Cookies I used today were a little bit dry. I'm gonna add about another 1/2 tablespoon of the vegan margarine. You just want to use enough margarine to wet your cookie crumbs so that when you press them into the crust, they'll kind of all adhere together. It's going to make a great base for this blueberry cheesecake. Oh yeah, that's nice. I'm going to take off my ring for this. Get in there with your hands. That feels good. It should feel moist, but not liquidy. This is the consistency. You want it to just kind of hold together when you push it together with your hands. But when you put it back in, it should look like crumbs. That's why it's a cookie crumb crust. All righty. We're just gonna dump these right into a 9-inch springform pan. If you haven't done a cookie crumb crust before, it's really, really easy. Just gonna spread this over the bottom of your pan, kind of in an even layer. There's a couple little holes here and there. Really doesn't matter. You just want a little bit of crunch in every bite of your cheesecake. So let me put that aside, wash off my hands, and we're gonna get to our cheesy layer, which is gonna be our tofu. So let's get to our filling. We're gonna add our blueberry topping later because our cheesecake has to cook. It's not gonna cook with the blueberry topping, so we're gonna do that a little later on. For this, I'm using 20 ounces of firm tofu, which is about a block and a third of tofu. You do want to use firm, you could use extra firm, and you do want to use regular tofu for this. I've drained it very, very well. You want to get rid of the excess liquid. That's going to be the base of our filling for our cheesecake. And all you have to do is drop it in the blender. Doesn't have a lot of ingredients either, so this is very, very easy to make. And then what I'm using is 3/4 of a cup of maple sugar. You could use brown sugar, but I wouldn't use maple syrup. I've tried it, but it makes the filling a little bit too loose. And then I've got 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. That's it. And we're gonna let it process until it gets really, really smooth. That is perfect. That's the consistency you want. Now, the only real difference between this style of cake that I'm making today and a true New York style cheesecake, New York style cheesecake is usually very, very thick. And I've tried making the cheesecake thicker, but it's really just too much tofu. So I've kind of balanced it out. It's kind of like a little cheesecake tart. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna evenly pour this over our cookie crumbs. Ooh, look at that coming out of there. Isn't that beautiful? Perfect. And then, carefully, just spread it in an even layer over the top of your cookie crumb crust. And make a nice, pleasing pattern, because whatever pattern you have is what it's going to end up to be on the top of the tofu. That is great. Give it a little tap. Ready to go in the oven. 375 for 30 to 40 minutes. You're gonna touch the middle of it. If it's set, it's ready to go. Now next, one of my very favorites since my childhood is my Deli-Style Macaroni Salad. Good. Something you're gonna find in every New York deli.
But right now, let's take a visit to the Big Apple, to Birdland, and chat with my friend Jim Brickman.
We're here at beautiful Birdland, which of course is a landmark club in New York City. It's been here for over 60 years. Birdland was named after the great Charlie Parker, who was also known as Bird, great saxophone player. Let's just talk a little bit about your great recordings. You have so many of them. I do know that you have a greatest hits CD that came out recently, and I'd love to hear all about that.
It came about from a massage therapist. Massage therapist came to me and said, you know, I have my clients on the table. You know, they're listening along to your CDs, but then all of a sudden, all the beautiful piano music, then there's singing. It comes on and it disrupts people's massage. It sort of made me think, why not pick a lot of the solo pieces from over the years and just make a pure solo piano album.
I love it. So let's get to food. I know that you really are incorporating a lot more plant-based meals into your diet plan. Give us a couple of tips how you do it, why you do it, what's behind this whole idea of moving towards a more plant-based diet.
Well, honestly, to me at the core, it's about feeling better. It's about your body feeling better and having more energy. Sometimes I think that sounds cliche to say that, but once you do it, I've noticed a huge difference.
Today we're in New York City, and of course we're making foods that are normally served in a New York deli, but we're making them vegan. They taste fantastic. When you feel like having peppers and sausage, or you feel like having very, very rich cheesecake, or you're craving a burger, what do you go for?
I go for what I call the simulated experience. So if I have sweet potato fries and a black bean burger, but it's on a bun, and you put the onions on it, things like that, it simulates the satiated feeling that you're after.
Yes, we've loved having you here
Thank
on
you.
the show today. It's the fantastic Jim Brickman. Now let's get back to cooking. You walk into just about any New York deli, you're gonna find macaroni salad. And it's true of Cleveland, Ohio, too. That's where I'm from. I grew up with macaroni salad. My grandma made it, my mother made it, used to get it in the delis there, and I have a fabulous jazzy vegetarian recipe that I'm excited to share with you right now. What I've done is I've cooked 1 pound of macaroni. You can use any kind of macaroni that you want. I also do this with rotini, fusilli, or penne, and it's also really good with the whole wheat variety if you prefer that. And as a matter of fact, if you'd like to make this gluten-free, you can use the brown rice pasta. There's also a quinoa pasta you can do this with. Use whatever you want. You're gonna cook up 1 pound of macaroni, and you're gonna do it al dente. But we do have to make a sauce for our salad, and this is what I like to do. I'm starting off with a 1/2 cup of vegan mayonnaise. Then I'm adding a little bit of Dijon mustard. What would macaroni salad be without mustard? I'm using 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, a little more, a little less, depending on the taste that you like. And then for a little pop of sweet against that mustard, 1 tablespoon of maple sugar. You could use maple syrup in this. You could use a little brown sugar. You can leave the sugar out if you want. Then 3 tablespoons of finely minced red onion. You can use white onion if you like. 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. I'm gonna mix that all together. It's gonna make such a flavorful sauce for our macaroni salad. Oh boy, I can smell it already. That is beautiful. Look at that. So it's really, really easy to put this together. Grab your big bowl, take your cooked macaroni. I usually like to chill it first before I put it into the salad. You can also make it and have it be lukewarm. Work perfectly fine too. Okay. I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of grated carrot, 1/2 cup of thinly sliced celery. I'm adding 1/2 cup of sliced black olives. You can also use green olives, even Kalamata olives if you like. So we're just gonna distribute this evenly. So what you have is this nice, tender macaroni with just little bits of that beautiful carrot, a little bit of crunch of the celery, those nice olives just popping through. Not too much, it doesn't overtake the macaroni, it just complements it in this salad. Now, we're gonna add our dressing in. That's nice. Woo! Love it. Now just a little bit of salt. I'm gonna add 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. And I'm adding 1/2 cup of chopped fresh parsley to add a little fresh pizzazz to this salad. You're gonna see it's gonna make the whole thing pop. Today we're doing it New York deli style with our Dijon mustard, our vegan mayo, our carrots, our celery, our Italian seasoning, fresh parsley, our olives. Ooh, yeah. That looks just fantastic. You can make this the day before. As it sits in the refrigerator, if it sits overnight, it's gonna take in that mayo, and right before you serve it, you're gonna want to add a little bit of the vegan mayo and maybe a little bit more Dijon mustard if you like. So let me get my serving bowl, get my salad in the bowl so it's all ready to serve. Ooh, isn't that beautiful? That is a pretty, pretty sight.
Jelly macaroni salad.
I do like to garnish it out with a little bit of paprika or even smoked paprika, which is what I'm using today. Really makes it look pretty. Adds a little bit of yummy flavor to it, too. All right, you gotta admit, that is beautiful. I'm gonna cover it with a little bit of foil, put it in the refrigerator for 2 or up to 12 hours before I serve it. Up next, we're gonna make that blueberry topping for our blueberry
Cheesecake.
good.
Cheeseless New York cheesecake.
What I have here is blueberries. I normally use frozen blueberries for this. I always keep them in my freezer. It's really, really handy. But if you do make this in blueberry season and you have fresh blueberries, feel free to use fresh ones too. So I've got 1 cup of frozen blueberries. As you can hear, they are frozen. And then I have 1/4 cup of blueberry preserves. Use any kind of blueberry preserves that you like. And then I have 1 tablespoon of maple sugar. Stir it up just a little bit. Just incorporate everything together. And we're gonna put this over a low or medium-low heat. We're gonna cover it. Just let it simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. You're gonna see it's really gonna come together and make a beautiful topping for my blueberry cheesecake. Now on to my Italian-style sweet peppers with vegan sausage. This is my jazzy vegetarian take on an authentic dish that's served at the San Gennaro Festival in Little Italy. When I used to live in New York City and I performed as a jazz singer, I lived in the West Village. And every fall, we'd go to the San Gennaro Festival down in Little Italy. We just loved going there. And it takes place every year. There's delicious food. There's free musical entertainment. My husband, who's from the Bronx, he was going to that same festival. And he said to me a few years ago, you know, I really wish you could make a vegan version of this dish that he used to eat at the San Gennaro Festival. And it's the sausages and the peppers. Finally, I came up with this really great recipe. It's so simple. But I do say that you need to use a meat analog for this. As you know, I don't use meat analogs a lot, but they are really handy for occasionally using in plant-based cooking when you do want to mimic the taste of a classic recipe. And in this case, I'm using a vegan sausage. That's really great if you're looking for that classic taste. So what I have here is 4 of my vegan sausages, about 14 to 16 ounces. You can use the long ones like this. You can also use the smaller ones. There's a lot of different varieties. And of course, I need sweet peppers. I like to keep this really, really colorful. And what I have is a yellow pepper, an orange pepper, and a red pepper. Just chop off the top of the pepper, chop off the bottom of the pepper, because we're gonna slice that all up. Pop out the top. Slice those up. And just slice down the middle here. And then you can just slice out that inner part. Just slice the seeds and the inner pith of the pepper. You end up with a nice long strip. It's an easy way to do a pepper when you're looking to get some slices out of it that are kind of uniform.
Here's the peppers, red, yellow, and orange peppers. Chop the peppers to make my vegan sausage and peppers. Peppers. You know I'm gonna chop the peppers to make my peppers today.
So I've sliced 3 sweet peppers, 1 red, 1 orange, and 1 yellow. Make sure they're large peppers for this. And then I've sliced 1 large sweet onion. I've sliced that really thin. So I'm adding 1 large sweet onion sliced. About 2 tablespoons of veggie broth. 1, 2, just eyeball it. Kind of stir it all up. Perfect. Cover it, put it on a medium-low heat, and we're gonna let that simmer and cook for about 3 minutes to get those onions sizzling. So while those onions cook, let's take a peek at our blueberry topping. I really smell it simmering away. Ooh, yeah, that is beautiful. Take a look at that. Let's put our topping over our cheesecake. It's ready for the big unveiling. All right, we're gonna take the spring form off. Just gonna drizzle this beautiful blueberry topping right over the top while it's hot. And it's gonna just incorporate right into that cheesecake. I'm gonna put this into the refrigerator for at least an hour before I serve it. So that blueberry topping has time to seep into my cheesecake. It's really scrumptious. Perfect. So there we have my beautiful blueberry cheesecake. Let me get it into the refrigerator now. We keep that in there for an hour to 3 hours to really let it set up. Oh yeah, there we go. That's what we want with the onions. These are getting just a little bit of color to them. So this is the time I like to add my seasonings. Add 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Give it a little bit of spice. And 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Couple of tablespoons more of that vegetable broth. That smells so good. All right, I'm gonna turn that down to medium-low and let that simmer for just about another minute or so. And let's get to our sausages. Slice them kind of on the diagonal, just like that. I'm gonna serve them in a hoagie bun, kind of make it really, really classic. So I've got 4 of these vegan sausages, which translates to 14 to 16 ounces of vegan sausages. I'm using the Italian style, which is perfect for this sweet pepper and vegan sausage dish. Let's just take a quick check on our onions. Oh yeah. I'm gonna be adding a little bit more veggie broth as we go. Altogether, I'm gonna use about 1.5 cups of the vegetable broth in this dish. All right, it's time to add our peppers. Add a tiny bit more of this veggie broth. Just about 2 or 3 tablespoons. Stir it all together. Look how colorful that is. Now we're gonna cover it, let it cook for about 5 minutes, just until the peppers start to get crisp, tender. I'm gonna add this vegan sausage. Vegan sausage is often pre-cooked, and this is the pre-cooked variety, so all I really wanna do is get it to warm up. Just incorporate them all in there. Isn't that just so beautiful and colorful? Now I'm gonna add veggie broth, about another 3 tablespoons. I've used almost 1.5 cups of that vegetable broth. Gonna turn it up to about a medium heat and let it cook for about 5 to 6 minutes until that vegan sausage is cooked through. And yep, I'm gonna plate it up and I'm gonna taste it for you, New York style. Start spreading the news that we have vegan deli-style meal. Look at this great macaroni salad based on my mother and my grandmother's recipe. You can't walk into a New York deli without seeing macaroni salad. Let me just take a little taste for you. Oh, that is good. A little bit of that mayo, a little bit of that Dijon mustard, a little bit of crunch from that celery and that parsley and that carrot. Really, really good. Wow. And of course, my Italian-style sweet peppers with vegan sausage. Gonna slice off a piece. I'm gonna take a little somewhat ladylike bite. See if I can do this. Oh my goodness. Wow. That is absolutely out of this world. Now, last but not least, look at my beautiful blueberry cheesecake. But it's not cheese, it's tofu. The blueberry topping seeps into the cheesecake, gives it that beautiful marbled look. I gotta taste it. That is out of this world. I've had such a great time sharing my classic culinary bites from the Big Apple with you. So if you're looking to create New York style recipes in your home kitchen, I hope you'll be inspired by today's show. So until next time, be happy, be healthy, and be well from the Jazzy Vegetarian.
Visit our website at jazzyvegetarian.com to connect with Laura, see videos, find your favorite recipes, and more. Follow Laura on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Companion cookbooks to the Jazzy Vegetarian series contain beautiful full-color photos and include recipes featured each season.
This 10th anniversary edition companion cookbook features full-color photos, menu plans, and over 120 recipes.
For more information or to order, visit jazzyvegetarian.com.
Organic love, 100% natural. Yes, it is now. Organic love. I've got no additives or no preservatives. It's real intuitive. It's downright primitive. Organic love is 100% natural. Yes, it is now.